I'm Rod Giltaka. I'm currently the CEO and Executive Director of the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights.
My name is Tracy Wilson and I'm Vice President of Public Relations for the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights.
My name is Michael Oberg. I'm the General Counsel to the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights.
My name is Jamie Elliott. I'm currently the President of the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights.
A group of people thought that there was something missing in the advocacy realm with respect to firearm rights in Canada. There were discussions that were taken by these people, and after a while we decided we would form an organization to advance this.
The CCFR was sort of born out of a need. You know, we were all members of other organizations, a lot of us still are, and we just saw this void in advocacy. And, you know, we thought, we need to stop preaching to the choir. We've sort of got to get our message out there to the general public.
What was being portrayed in the media did not match my reality as a gun owner. If you've been around this long enough, you start to understand that people get comfortable, people get settled into the same positions, and the same things keep happening over and over again. And it doesn't become fresh, it becomes very stale.
We've got to be a little more effective on a bigger scope, speaking to more Canadians, being more effective with legislators, and just changing the conversation around firearms in Canada.
I guess the prevailing opinion was, we tried it this way for 20 years and we haven't gotten the respect or the progress that we think we deserve. So that there was an appetite to do something a little bit differently, and I was recruited by someone to step up to be the president, the first president of the CCFR. I got heavily involved with the CCFR right off the bat.
The ideas generated over time through the contributions of the founders, and after a while it evolved into the public relations organization that you see today.
So for people that may not know what the CCFR does, we are a very different organization, very different than any organization that advocated on behalf of firearm owners before. And in that our programming reaches out to people that don't own guns. For the average Canadian that doesn't know anything about the topic, but only gets information from the mainstream media. And that's very difficult because they have a very broad reach and they have a very loud voice. And it's hard to talk over that.
We're not gangsters, we're not murderers, we're not killers. We are the most highly vetted, most trustworthy members of society. And a lot of people get confused about that. When you see a news story about guns and a gun has been used for a crime, you immediately, they would think, guns are a problem. And the answer is the crime is the problem and the criminal is the problem. We are not the problem. We are not the ones doing those things. And the fact that that message has gotten mixed in all media in Canada, and the people of Canada just simply aren't getting the message that there's two groups of people here. And if you conflate one with the other, you're going to come to the wrong political decision and the wrong allocation of resources in trying to solve the fundamental problem of crime and gangs.
Across the media and across the public, there's a real lack of honesty in the conversation. And I think that's purposeful. I don't think they want to have an honest conversation, because if everybody was able to sit down, have a rational discussion about the topics at hand, then we wouldn't be in this fight.
We seek truth. We seek to disseminate truth. We are perfectly happy to identify problems that exist, and we are perfectly happy to seek solutions for those problems that work for everyday Canadians, non-firearm owning Canadians as well as firearm owning Canadians. We bring rationality to the argument, and that is something that is not always present in the firearm advocacy realm.
We try to continue to represent the CCFR as it was intended, which is to bring factual debate and civilized debate. You know, I think we do a really good job of that about 97.5% of the time. But yeah, sometimes we get dragged into the fight as well.
One of the things that's very special about the CCFR is that the people who come into it come in with a dedication to professionalism and advancing the firearm rights argument with a very high level of debate.
For me, it's really important to get out into the community. I travel all across this country. I'm from the East Coast to the West Coast, everywhere in between. We're doing pub nights, we're networking with our people, we're hosting ladies' days, youth days, charity shoots.
But we do things that we can do on a grassroots level, like fully animated explainer videos. We have a television show. That's never ever happened before. A television show where Canadians are shooting handguns and black rifles.
It's a really important element for us to get down into the communities to show these people firsthand with education, with a day at the range, even just a conversation, so that they can hear some truth and get another perspective other than just a biased media opinion.
There's really no compelling evidence that anyone can point to that the system that we have has resulted in increased public safety. We need to really look at our regulations, make sure that anything that we do has a demonstrable benefit to public safety. And if it doesn't, then we should call those regulations what they are, which is they're just punitive against a culture that many people in Canada just don't understand.
For me, the CCFR's greatest accomplishment so far is the impact that we've had on legislation and the ability to take the voice of the average gun owner into the House of Commons and into the Senate in a new, fresh way.
I can't think of anyone that has invested so much emotionally and just her work ethic and the amount of effort that she puts into her advocacy.
I think calling Tracy Wilson a firecracker is actually an understatement. Like, you're talking about a big pile of dynamite. Tracy has a lot of passion.
If there's something going on Parliament Hill, she's there. She throws her stuff together, charges her phone, she's there, she's live streaming it on Facebook. She will do absolutely anything to protect our community, and that we're not given a raw deal, whether it's the media or politicians or individuals or people on social media. She really is the mother bear that looks after all of us at the CCFR and gun owners in general.
I'm a mom and a grandma. You know, I want to save for Canada too. And I'm very passionate about what I do because it matters to me, it matters to my children, it matters to my grandson. And I think people sort of get this image of you, you know, they see you doing videos or they see you on camera and they think one thing, and when they meet me, they realize I'm just like everybody else. So is Rod. We're all just average people with a really extraordinary sport and team.
We're all very, very passionate people when it comes right down to it. We want the best for our community.
They put in 365 days a year, 24/7. You know, when they're asleep, they're working, they're thinking, they're on all the time. Rod is doing his videos, doing his advocacy. He is constantly working. You can't pay somebody money to buy that kind of dedication to what he's doing for the CCFR.
I've learned a lot from myself just on how to get a lot of stuff done in the tightest amount of time possible. The guy, he seems almost superhuman at times with the amount of stuff that he actually does. He's a critical thinker. You can sit down, you can have a discussion with him. If I don't agree with him, I can say very easily that I don't think this is the right way to go. We should probably talk this out and figure it out. And we can work through that and come to a happy medium where we can take that messaging forward at that point.
When you join us together, we sort of become this dynamic duo where we play off of each other's talents and each other's skills and characteristics. And yeah, it's been absolutely amazing for me having a mentor like Rod.
I have a very difficult time with anyone who acts like a bully. I have a difficult time for anyone who lies about other people. And in my case, my main concern is lying about gun owners.
Membership dollars are extremely important to us. We have to be extremely respectful of where that money comes from. Any organization that is working with money from our members or from their members, you have to understand that this is money that people have worked hard for. They're donating to you because they believe in what we are doing as an organization.
The field officers are a critical element of the CCFR insofar as everything that the CCFR can design as far as policies that we may wish to implement require people to actually go out and implement them. We've enjoyed a great deal of success with collecting wonderful people to donate their time as field officers.
There's, I think, over 240 of them, and these are volunteers. They go to gun shows and they do logistical work, all the way down to, spreading our links on social media and engaging in civilized debate.
They are our face, our voices in the public community. We have principal spokespeople with Tracy Wilson and Rod Giltaka, but on a day-to-day basis, we've got an army of field officers out there talking to everybody all the time. And without them, none of this would be possible.
The unsung heroes are our volunteers and our employees as well.
I think we're gaining ground in recognition and the education of the general public, because people are starting to ask more questions and they're starting to hold the politicians to account.
It's sort of that if you build it, they will come moment where you've got this dream and this vision of what you want to see happen, and along with the work and effort of your associates, it comes true. It's really elevated the conversation in Canada around firearms and elevated the participation.
The CCFR came out of the gates really quickly. I think our message and our vision for advocacy and just basically the things that we're going to do that we're going to be different than what anybody else had done really played a part in that, and it's been growing almost unmanageably ever since.